Thanks for joining us for City Council Comments. I'm Steve Erickson along with Mayor Jerry Cook. Today we're talking about both the July 5th and the July 19th City Council meetings. Thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
We had a relatively short meeting, maybe a record this week.
Yeah, if it wouldn't have been for other business, we would have been done in about 5 minutes, I think.
Only like 3 items basically on just the consent agenda, so
Yep.
Pretty short there. We had a little longer meeting for our first one of the month, but we'll start off by talking about our July 19th City Council meeting. Again, we had 3 consent agenda items. That was what the meeting consisted of. So we'll talk about all 3 of those. One of those was approving a Greenview Incorporated contract. This is for the recycling center staff and park staff.
Right. So particularly at our recycling center, we've got a very active recycling center. It's the only one I know of really in Anoka County, I think, like that.
Yeah, I mean, do a lot of stuff, certainly.
Yeah, and so Greenview contracts, they do the staffing and such. And to that end, I brought the hours because I thought that would be interesting to know when they're open. So if people go on the website, they can find out that the Tuesday and Thursday, it's open from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, it's open 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And that's April through September. Different hours in October through March. But yeah, it's very, very active. You go in there on a Saturday when they're picking up the appliances, and you got everybody working.
Or the days they've had the shredding event too. I noticed they had a big line one week for just paper shredding, which I was like,
it's
wow.
it's like a parade going down 111th there.
Yeah, it was. And I know they changed the hours last year. They instituted those summer hours where they were open 2 nights later, and I think that's been successful. So they've kept that again this year.
Yeah, it seems to be going very well over there. So we renewed the contract with Greenview, and so they do the recycling center staff, and then they help with the park staffing.
All right. Council adopted a resolution. This authorizes city staff to apply for the Metropolitan Council Planning Assistance Grant. Anytime you can get grant money, that's a good thing.
As long as it doesn't come with too many strings, it's a good thing.
Yes.
And that's what you kind of have to watch for with the Met Council is here's money to do this, and then you're not happy with the results, and then you find out, oh, well, we have to adopt those results or we have to pay the money back. Oh. So it's, but in this case, all the communities are required to do their 2040 comprehensive planning, and so Met Council is providing a grant for us to that end. Okay. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's the projections for 2040 is like 35,000 jobs in town and population of 70-some thousand and an additional, I don't remember how many housing units. So you have to kind of, you have to figure out what that's going to look like and get your plan done. Yeah,
and they just plan in chunks apparently. I feel like I remember them doing the 2020 plan, and now we're talking about the 2040 plan.
Yeah, well, it's almost 2020, so I guess you have to kind of start looking down the road a little bit.
To the next 20 years.
Yeah.
All right. Council adopted a resolution. This was accepting the fireworks donation. And I have to say, it's down there at the park. It was an amazing show. I think this is one of the best, if not the best, one of the best grand finales they've had.
Oh, I think this probably was the best. Yeah. When the carnival and the event moved out back to Coon Rapids Boulevard, they felt that, well, we better pick up the fireworks a little bit. So they added about 1/3 onto the fireworks. Well, it was so phenomenally successful last year, and it was so well received that we got regional recognition for how great the fireworks were. Well, as they sort of felt challenged, so they added a little bit more this year. And instead of the 1 fake ending, there was like 3 or 4 fake endings, and it was amazing. Yeah. It was just phenomenal.
A grand finale. And of course, that cost quite a bit of money to put on.
Yeah, I think it was $38,500, I think was the amount we accepted from the Community Strength Foundation. The Community Strength Foundation in town is a 501c3. It handles like the Twin City Gateway Visitors Bureau, the community grants that come from that. It handles a good portion of the gambling proceeds from all the pull tab sales, and the Coon Rapids North Star Lions puts a lot of money into it from their sales of food down at the park and whatnot. Plus, there's people that have just made outright donations to the Community Strength Foundation. So that's where the money came from the fireworks.
All right, and just the overall 3-day celebration was great. The weather was perfect. We had the first ever Firecracker 5K, and that turned out to be a big success.
I loved it. So they anticipated, they said if we get 50 to 100 runners, we'll consider this a success. Before the early registration deadline even cut off, there were over 200 runners, and they had over 300 that were there and signed up, for the race. And it was a beautiful morning. It was just awesome. Matt, the fire chief from St. Francis, was down with his drone. So there's some really cool video of the runners on the course leaving and coming in. And then, of course, CTN was there, and you've got some nice footage of it, and that was just an awesome event.
And the parade was great. Perfect weather for that as well. So all in all, a great celebration.
It really was. They brought the craft fair back, and apparently all the crafters were all real excited about how it went. Some of them, they had the opportunity to stay till dusk, and a couple of them did. They had the car show out there, and I talked to several of the folks with the cars who were really happy with the event, and a lot of really nice cars.
Yes.
Gets to that Pavlov's dog thing, It's like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
Nice, beautiful vehicles. All right. Well, good thing it's not this week where it's extremely hot.
Oh boy.
So it had perfect weather for it. All right. Well, that's all we had from our July 19th council meeting. As we said, very short meeting. We're going to move back now to our July 5th, right after the 4th. One of the first items we want to talk about there is a resolution establishing the city manager's salary.
Yeah. So Steve Gatlin retired a little over a year ago. And so the city opened up a national search for a replacement city manager, and ended up, after going through, I don't know how many candidates and how many interviews and how many hours of work, we ended up hiring the current assistant city manager, Matt Stemwedel. And we're actually at the end of a year. We did a 6-month review with him, and now we did a 1-year review. And he met all of his goals, and he's really stepped up and done an extremely good job as a city manager. And so at the end, we actually stepped him up. There's all these steps in how this city payroll works, and we stepped him up one step. And that was what he asked for, and that's what I was hoping that we would be at when we were done, and the council was unanimous, and everybody seems very happy with him, and I think we're very fortunate to have him, at the city manager.
All right. Council adopted a resolution. This establishes a new polling location at Precinct 4-2. We also, at the same meeting, approved appointment of election judges, approved their salaries, and set the canvass date for the primary, which is coming up here in just a couple weeks.
It really is, yeah. August 9th, I think it is.
That sounds about right.
So, in Precinct 4-2 has been voting at the Coon Rapids American Legion Club. And if you've been in the area, you'll see that that's for sale now. So there's some concerns whether how long we'd be able to have the polling there. So they've moved that Precinct 4-2 to it's the support building. It's part of the Anoka Ramsey Community College. It's the building up on Coon Rapids Boulevard and Mississippi, right across from McDonald's. Yep. That actually used to be the Faith Lutheran Church back in the day.
Okay.
So if you are in Precinct 4-2, you'll be voting at what do they call it? The Educational Support Building or something. It's Anoka Ramsey Communities.
Business building or something?
Yeah, something like that.
It's the one right on the corner, like you said. You can't miss it. It's right by McDonald's there. So
Professional Training Center.
There you go.
There we go. Anoka Ramsey Community College Professional Training Center.
All right. So that'll be a change. And while we're talking about the election, just this week we had a candidate forum. The League of Women Voters sponsored that. This is for the city council races, the ones that are contested on the primary ballot, which is Ward 1 and Ward 4.
Correct. Yeah, there's 6 candidates that'll be in the primary for Ward 1 and 5 candidates in the primary for Ward 4. So it'll be an interesting process. And then after the primary, then there will just be 2 candidates in each of Ward 1 and Ward 4 then. There are already only 2 candidates in Ward 2. And then at large, which is the 4th council seat on the ballot this year, is unopposed.
Right. Steve Wells is running for that for another term.
Correct.
So if you're interested in seeing that, if you weren't able to make it to the forum, we will be playing that back right here on CTN. Watch for it in the coming weeks.
I searched all over for it this morning. Apparently, we're not quite up there yet.
Not quite yet. Almost. Today, I promise. All right. Council held a public hearing. This is for a U.S. Department of Justice grant. This is actually grant money that the police department is getting.
Yes. So we actually adopted the ordinance during the consent agenda at the earlier meeting, but we had to do a public hearing as part of it. And this is the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant. They call it the JAG, J-A-G. And it awarded the police department up to $10,380 for the purchase of police equipment. And the requirements of the grant are the proposed purchases must not be supplanting, and a hearing must be held on the proposed expenditures. And what they're buying is 15 body microphones for in-squad video system, the shotgun that shoots the beanbags and 150 beanbag rounds, a covert trail cam, I'm not sure where that'll go, binoculars, 11 dash-mounted GPS, 20 straight batons, and 75 taser cartridges.
All right.
And nobody spoke at the public hearing, so that was it.
Sometimes it's 1 or 2 items. This time it seems like a lot of miscellaneous stuff that they probably are in need of.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. And this was the first time we got the full definition of actually what a non-lethal shotgun was. Because that's always what it said. It's a non-lethal shotgun.
Those are probably good to be used these days. While we're on that subject, we can talk about the police. I know we had the police chief talk about kind of the outpouring of support that they've gotten since the incidents down in Dallas and Baton Rouge. There's a lot of support that the police departments are seeing.
Yeah, yeah. There's been so many things going on lately, and just the tragic loss of life down in Dallas and Baton Rouge, just senseless. And so Coon Rapids the residents have always been very supportive of our police department and our fire department. Our public safety in general, our residents are very supportive. But to that end, they've been showing up with flowers and cards and donuts and all kinds of things. And the police department's really been feeling the love. Yeah. To the point where I think they were concerned about a spike in obesity and diabetes, so they've asked for maybe a veggie tray or something.
And I think they've gotten one of those, or a fruit tray or something.
Yep, yep. And then a couple of the officers wanted to go and show support at the memorial service in Dallas. So they went on their own time. They took vacation time, and they're going on their own dime to go down there. I guess the local police, I don't remember what their little organization is called, but yeah. I think covered some of their expenses. But yeah, so that was nice to go down there and just in honor of the loss and to show support from Coon Rapids. And there was a picture of one of the Dallas squad cars with all of the various departments' badges on it, and one of the Coon Rapids badges was there. Yep. Patches.
All right, and I imagine they're back, and I know some wanted to go to the Baton Rouge funerals as well. So
yeah,
tough times certainly.
It really is. It really is.
It's also a good time we can talk about if you want to learn more about the police department, how it functions, its operations, there's a good opportunity coming up for that, coming up starting September 7th.
Correct. Yeah, registration is open on the city's website for the Citizens Police Academy. And it's 10 weeks through September something through November something. But you can go online and register. The class is free. And it's a pretty good time commitment. It's three and a half hours, I believe, each consecutive 10 Wednesdays. But it really gives you a really good idea of the inner workings of the police department, some of their challenges, some of their procedures, and others. The city attorney gets involved with part of the presentation. So I think it's a great opportunity for folks.
All right, so again, check out the city website if you want to learn how to sign up for that coming up this fall. All right, council adopted an ordinance amending park hours and overnight parking.
Yeah, so we're trying to get some consistency with the park hours, and even though the parks had hours, the parking lots didn't necessarily have hours. So we ended up with some of our parks that were in areas close to medium density housing where the parking lots of the parks were becoming overflow parking for the townhomes or the apartments. So we're just trying to clean it up. So Neighborhood park hours will now be 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., while community parks, athletic parks, and cornerstone parks are 5 a.m. to midnight. Staff in the public works and the police departments believe consistency in the park hours makes sense. There's some expansion if there's, for example, if you've got a permit for the ball games or something, that automatically extends your time in the park. Does that kind of cover it, Steve?
That does. I was like, I thought it was 11 p.m., but no, it is midnight there. The 11 p.m. is several different parks during May 1st to October 31st. That's Al Flynn, Aspen, Riverview, Sand Creek, Wintercrest, and the soccer complex.
Yeah.
Or 5 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Yeah, so there is some difference there, but
And there's also overnight parking is not allowed. Has that been that has been an issue then?
that has been an issue, and it hasn't been specifically stated that it was prohibited.
Yeah.
Now it's specifically prohibited. We had quite a bit of discussion because a lot of the trails go through the parks, and this technically closes those trails as well. It's really difficult to say, well, the trail will be open then all night, because then it's really hard to enforce the park hours.
Yeah.
If you actually have troublemakers in there that you want to leave the park, they can just jump on the trail and go, well, the trail's not closed.
Right.
So we're kind of having to work through that a little bit. And we don't have a good answer yet, and so we didn't have a good workaround. So those, unfortunately, also close at the same time as the park. But
Okay. About 11 midnight, that should
Yeah.
be decent
Yeah.
to get a nice walk in. So.
yeah, I would think so.
All right. Council adopted an ordinance regulating the predatory offender's residency.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on in the state. There's a lot of testing on the state level for predatory offenders, whether they are being treated fairly or not, whether it's a violation of their constitutional rights. The long and the short of it is, we're concerned that there could be a kind of a major release of level 3 predatory offenders. So we wanted to get an ordinance in place controlling where they could live in town. And so the ordinance spells it out pretty specifically. And it's all level 3s or level 2 offenders that have that were involved with a minor, 16 or under, I think it was. So they can't live within 2,000 feet of a park or a daycare or I don't even recall what all the various things were.
School was the other one.
Schools.
Yep.
Each other. Yeah. So there's exceptions to it if they're living with an immediate family member, a parent, not a grandparent. Grandparent doesn't count. I'm just going to quit shoveling papers. We'll just talk about it.
or also a residence owned by the Minnesota Department of Corrections.
Yeah, and the rest of that was previous to July 26th, 2016.
Okay.
So essentially, unless that's already there won't be any. It's not allowing any additional.
Okay. But at this point, we don't have any level 3 sex offenders that live in Coon Rapids
That was my understanding.
at the time that this ordinance went
Correct.
into effect. Okay. So this regulates going forward
Yes.
where they can live.
Yeah. So yeah, basically you can't eliminate your community from them living here, but you can really regulate where they can be.
Okay.
You know.
And there's other communities that are doing this as well.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Council adopted a resolution. This is supporting Anoka County federal funding applications for Hanson and Egret Boulevard, but there were some contingencies on this, contingent upon agreeing on the design and upon the plan having an additional median break. So I know there was a little bit of lengthy discussion about whether this should be supported or not.
Well, yeah, this really kind of surprised us. We didn't know this was coming, and all of a sudden, here's a proposal. This is what we want to apply for federal money for reconstruction of Hanson Boulevard. We have to decide this right now,
Yeah.
And there's some concerns because to be eligible for the federal money, you have to meet certain safety points, certain safety standards, and usually those are achieved with additional medians, controlling car movements. Mm-hmm. And we really didn't have much time to consider it, so we didn't we're not offering a municipal approval. We're offering some limited support for the applications with the understanding that we're going to look at this again before we offer municipal approval because we have to make sure this is going to work well for our residents.
Right.
The Foley one was a little contentious because this was exactly the project we talked about, I believe, last year. And we did say this would be okay as long as we have one additional break in the median between the Park and Ride and Coon Rapids Boulevard for the businesses there. Not specifically where, because we're not really sure where it should be at, but just one additional. And then when the plans came, there was no additional break in there. So it felt like, did they not hear us? And it really came down to they didn't know where to arbitrarily put it either. So the understanding is that there will be an additional break. We did ultimately support both of the applications for the federal money, but we will be taking another look at it before municipal approval is granted and the projects go forward, assuming they get the federal grants.
Right, right. Yeah. But I would assume that having some sort of support from the local municipality is important to that grant process.
It apparently gives them a stronger case. It gives them a better chance of receiving the grant. Okay. So it made sense to move forward and offer support to increase the chance that they would get the funding, but still reserve an opportunity to have a conversation about what it eventually looks like.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll stay tuned on that and see if they get that funding and hear more about that.
And that was, Hanson Boulevard from Northdale, I think it was from Northdale out to Main Street, and then Foley Boulevard, basically from, I think, East River Road to Coon Rapids Boulevard, because it included the grade separation over the tracks on Foley there. So.
Well, we certainly know that there could be some work done on Hanson there. That is definitely a busy stretch of roadway there.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, that is all the items that we have for our July 5th meeting. I have some other stuff to talk about before we go. The Summer in the City meetings have started. We've already had 2 of the 4.
Yeah, so we had to reschedule the first one because of a stormy night, and we had the rescheduled one this week on Monday night, and we had our other one the week before. So now we have 2 left, July 18th.
26th.
No, yeah, thank you. Lose track of what date it is. So we have July 26th coming up at Vineyards Park and August 23rd at Kennedy Park. And the Kennedy Park will be kind of nice because we've just recently finished that trail that connects Kennedy Park over to Springbrook Nature Center, which Springbrook Nature Center is having their ribbon cutting and grand opening after I don't know how much construction, July 30th. Yes. So it's all fortuitous timing.
Yeah, their new building is going to open there, and they just marked, what, the 30th anniversary of the tornado this week?
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. A lot of stuff going on.
All right, so those meetings get underway again July 26th, Vineyards Park, August 23rd, Kennedy Park. They start at 6:30 and run till about 8 o'clock.
Right, and they're a wonderful opportunity to come out and meet the staff, the community development, buildings, I shouldn't have started. Park and Rec. The fire department's usually there with one of their rigs, and the police department's usually there always with a squad car, and Public Works brings out a front end loader or something else. So there's lots of photograph opportunities for the kids or for whoever wants, and ice cream and water.
Got to eat it fast though, because it melts on those hot summer nights.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the farmers market. That actually opened last week, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, so 3 to 6, I think,
Sounds
Wednesday
about right.
afternoons over at Coon Rapids Ice Center. A great opportunity to pick up fresh produce and buy local stuff.
Yeah, and that's been really popular. It started there last year, I believe, at that location, and they had people lined up like the first day it opened before 3 o'clock. So get there early for the best selection, but I know they bring in new stuff throughout the course of the Wednesdays that they're open into the fall as the produce changes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. I love that.
All right. The other item we wanted to talk about was coming up soon is Night to Unite. That happens annually the first Tuesday in August, which means we'll have our meeting one day later.
Right. So the council meeting, which would normally be the first August 2nd, will be Wednesday night, August 3rd, because Tuesday night will be the Night to Unite parties, and Coon Rapids really steps it up for this. Mm-hmm. It's all scheduled, and the assistance comes through our police department. So you register your 19-night party there. We have over 100 each year. You get visits from public safety, from fire and police, and no, they're great opportunities for the neighbors to get together, to meet with the police and the fire, and usually the city council goes around and hits as many as they can, and it's a great opportunity.
All right, so again, Tuesday, August 2nd for Night to Unite. If you're interested in getting those visits from police or fire, just go ahead and call the police department, or you can get more information online on the city's website.
Yeah, they've got a whole kit or something they provide to help you organize it and
promote it and all that. Yep.
Yep.
All right, one other item this week was Safety Camp. That's an annual event that is organized by the police and fire departments.
Yeah, and I, prior to my oldest hitting 4th and 5th grade, didn't know about Safety Camp, and was blown away with what they learned there. You know, and I love how everybody works it. They're all in shorts and undershirts and hats, and you know, and you don't know who anybody is, and it's literally police, fire, EMTs, National Guard. It's all these various entities that are hanging with the kids, letting them learn about, like Connexus Energy comes in and does their big thing with, you know, electrical demonstrations with staying away from the wires. There's bike safety. There's inspirational things. They've added CPR training. They bring in the helicopter. It's just all these great things going on. And then on graduation night, these kids see the adults that they've been working with for 2 full days. They come in their police uniform, their fire uniform, their paramedic uniform, whatever it is. And it's really fun to the whole interaction, the education. It's just a great experience for kids.
Yeah.
4th, 5th grades.
Great way for them to get to know the people that serve and protect them on a daily basis.
Absolutely. And the new facility now, they're doing it over at the Boulevard Park, Coon Rapids Ice Center. Gives them a great spot. If there's a storm, they have a shelter there. It was blistering hot. They could bring the kids in and cool them off, you know, and
sit on the ice.
Yeah.
Cool down a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm sure that felt good.
Yeah. So it's worked out really well.
All right. Well, that's all I have. If there's anything else you want to add.
I don't think so. Other than make sure you get out and learn about, if you're in wards 4 or 1, get out and learn about your candidates, and get out there on August 9th.
Yep.
And vote, because a very small number make a very big difference in where we go.
Yeah, and you don't always have that big of a turnout for a primary, so
Right.
every vote certainly counts.
Right. So,
All right.
Other than that, I don't think I have anything else.
Well, we appreciate you being here today and talking to us about our 2 meetings here in July. Thank you at home for watching, and we'll see you back here again after our 2 meetings in August.